There's a new action RPG that just came out, and it looks pretty cool. GameStop tries to stay relevant by updating stores, and Ubisoft sees big increases in PC profits. My name's Force. Welcome back to the Force feed. Holy heck, hell of a surprise today. Out of nowhere, a game I never heard of actually looks pretty neat. It's a brand new multiplayer action RPG by the name of Kill Squad. It actually reminds me of a mix of something like Diablo and Helldivers. So you start off in a main menu, you pick a mission through this contract, and then you can either go in alone or in a team of up to 4. Features 4 different playable characters with their own unique playstyle and skill trees that you can unlock and progress. Now you'll launch with a base set of gear and abilities depending on the hero that you pick, but in mission you level up, unlocking new skills and upgrades as you go. You'll be killing enemies, completing objectives, collecting resources, and then using that to upgrade your gear. Now the missions themselves take place on a variety of procedurally generated planets. You'll never see like the same location in the same setup twice. There is class customization through these cosmetic outfits, but also using credits that you earn in mission to upgrade your arsenal. And it's worth noting as well, this game is either playable on a gamepad or with a keyboard and mouse using WASD movement. It's not like a click to move ARPG, it's a WASD ARPG. Also a big note, this is a Steam early access game. So if you don't like playing alpha or beta games, if you don't like paying for games that are still in development, you might want to stay away from this. But I gotta say, I jumped in this morning for an hour and I was really surprised. Like, it felt really polished, it was enjoyable to play. No idea how good the variety is gonna be, how good the gearing and leveling up systems are gonna be, and if the game has any longevity at all. But from an hour of playtime, I had fun playing it. And interestingly, also notable is that so far it's got mostly positive reviews. It's sitting at over 400 reviews right now, again, mostly positive. Although since it's only been in early access for a couple of days, that might change over time as people start to put hundreds of hours into this thing, you know, depending on what the end game's looking like, especially for a game that's not even finished and still in development. I expect that the problems with it will expose themselves more and more over time, as they tend to do with loot-based and action RPG games like this. So I don't know how this game is gonna hold up or not. It was really interesting though, because it gave me some super Helldivers vibes, and I really liked Helldivers. I played a lot of Helldivers and I had a lot of fun with that game, and it was very reminiscent of that experience. And again, it was more polished than I expected. I swear this is not a sponsored video. It sounds like one, but it's not. It just I guess I'm just excited because it's a pleasant surprise. It just came out of nowhere. I like action RPGs, and this appears like it might be a good one. So keep an eye on this thing. I'm not telling you to jump in yet. It's still early access. It's still early days. Give people some time to really sink their teeth into it and come out with like proper reviews. But initial impressions are positive, so good on you, Kill Squad. Next up, we're gonna talk a bit about GameStop. It's a company that's been in the news for not so great reasons. They've had a lot of issues over the years. Sales have been quite visibly on the decline for a long time. They were closing stores, and at some point there were even talks of buyouts. Well, they have a plan to try to stay relevant, and that is to update the stores that nobody's going to. What is this plan? So basically they're trying to, what they're saying is, be a place in the video gaming culture with new layouts and purposes meant to appeal more directly to gamers. So you can still go there and buy your games and stuff, but they're also looking to give people more ways to try the games before they buy them. They want to make shops that cater specifically to like retro gaming and that hardware. They even are talking about shops that are able to host esports competitions, which I don't know if you've ever been into a GameStop, but not exactly a very spacious environment. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. They're testing these new locations in a select market. I don't think it's been specified yet. I don't know, man. I don't know if a brand new store environment is gonna change the fact that nobody's going to their stores. They're clearly looking to have a new pull, because just buying games hasn't been good enough for them. And I know like the used game market was, and probably still is, like the biggest portion of where they're making all of their money. I'll tell you personally, I haven't been into a GameStop to buy a game since maybe Halo 2. Like, it's been a very, very long time. I adopted the digital game purchases almost immediately. Just the convenience, not having to deal with all these like stacks and stacks of games. I know there's an appeal to it, and I know there's people who are super dedicated to this idea of, I want to physically own and have a copy of the thing that I purchased. Me, I just can't be bothered, because I don't need stacks and stacks of video games that I'm probably never gonna even pop in and play anyways. I'll tell you this, I do have a box of physical physical games before I switched over to digital. They've been sitting in my attic for 7 years or so, moving them from new attic to new attic, but that's about the closest I get to actually touching those things. It seems pretty clear based on my own habits that I don't need physical games because I've got a box of them that I haven't touched in almost a decade. So I don't need them. So GameStop's, for someone like me at least, GameStop's gonna have to do a lot more than just have better sales or what, like, they're gonna need more of an appeal to draw me into those stores. I don't know, it'll be interesting. We'll see how things go for them. Best of luck, I guess, GameStop, I don't know. And last up in the news today, we're gonna talk a bit about Ubisoft. This is a company that I've been pretty impressed with in recent years. They've really done a good job of continually supporting their games post-launch. I mean, you look at some of the continued success of titles like Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor, or you look at Division 1 leading up to the launch of Division 2. That was a game that people were stoked about because it kept getting better and better with time. Well, it looks like it's paying off. Ubisoft just recently reported their first quarter sales were higher than expected, led by titles like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Rainbow Six Siege, and what they're saying is player recurring investment. Now, on top of that, it's also worth noting that PC is now Ubisoft's most profitable platform, which is an interesting change because it seemed like they weren't too invested in PC until recent years, and making that shift is obviously quite paying off. Now, an interesting note as well is that they mentioned that monthly active users have been flat across the quarter, but engagement was up. So it's not like the player bases for these games are rising and rising, and that's why they're making increased profits. It's that the player bases are staying the same, but they're happy with what they're playing and they're engaging and spending money more often. Now, we could probably argue about whether that's a good or bad thing that players keep spending more money, but the way I see it is this: if you're one of those people who just loves Rainbow Six Siege or love For Honor, it's like the main game that you play, you're probably mostly happy that they continue to update and support it. It'll be one of those things where different updates and patches people are more or less happy with. Maybe they messed up the game a little here, or there was microtransactions we didn't like there, but just the general idea that there's a game that you love and it gets continuous support and it's like the only game that you play, that's a pretty awesome thing. And that pretty much does it for today's news. Thank you guys for checking this out. I gotta say again, I was nicely surprised this morning downloading and jumping into Kill Squad. I thought the game, it was better than I expected because I didn't expect much. When I looked at the trailers, it didn't look super impressive, honestly. But the game plays and feels pretty good. I'm not trying to sell you on it. Again, it's in Steam Early Access. It's still going through development. Please give it time for like reviews with people who really put a bunch of time in. Wait for those things to come out. I might try to spend some more time with it if I can pull myself away from all the other games I'm playing right now. Cool, man, cool. It's always good to get new surprising games, I guess. I mean, I'm like overwhelmed with the amount of games that I'm trying to play right now. A good problem to have, but still a problem. Is it a problem? No, I'm being a baby.